Good morning, everybody. Today we have another rainy, blustery, gloomy day, which for us little pagans sometimes soothes our little soul. I know for me personally, it appeals to the darker Scorpio components of my personality. That dark academia just gets me right in the feels. Today we are going to be going over the Sacred Circle class of Boundaries and Empowerment. Now, this is being recorded because sometimes we have people who can't come to the physical class, and I wanted them to have a visual or auditory option. So that's what this is today. We start off our Boundaries and Empowerment and Sacred Circle in general with a recommendation that you smoke or mist cleanse your physical and energetic bodies. We do this so that we can sort of shed away anything outside of ourselves or attached to our energetic bodies that is not going to add to our experience moving forward. We want to be very mindful and present in this moment now. This is the moment of power after all. So I usually mist down anybody walking into the sacred space. The space itself is typically cleansed and purified and charged before anybody even walks in. So if you want to take a moment to run some incense over your body or mist yourself down with an aura cleanser, I would recommend that if you're going to burn an incense that is maybe uplifting or empowering for you in your space while you do this work, that's great. Just make sure that you're not burning sage, or if you are, that you are burning something else with it. Sage tends to push everything out all at once, creating sort of a vacuum, and if you're not filling that space up with a different incense being burned at that same time, sometimes it can pull everything in the way a vacuum does. When there's an empty space, everything around it will flood back in. So now that we've got that out of the way, I have already cleansed myself and my space as far as all this is concerned. So while you do your cleansing and while you get comfortable and seated, I'm going to read you the 2 quotes for our Boundaries and Empowerment course. Bernie Brown said, "Daring to set boundaries is about having the courage to love ourselves even when we risk disappointing others." And then the second one is by Marissa Vilikovic. I believe that's how you say it. I probably said it wrong though. I apologize. But Marcia said, "Don't you dare shrink yourself for someone else's comfort. Do not become small for people who refuse to grow." And that's the general theme of our Boundaries and Empowerment course. So now that you are all ready to go, we're going to take a moment to ground here in the moment and the now. The way we're going to do that is we're going to take 3 deep breaths in through our nose, out through our mouths. I want you to try and fill your lungs up as full as you possibly can. And then when you exhale, do it slowly and controlled through the mouth and empty your lungs fully. So here we go. Get yourself nice and comfortable and seated. You're going to close your eyes and you're going to see the natus, the energetic connection between you and the universe, reaching all the way up to the source of energy where it connects. It reattaches and balances itself out as it reconnects with the top of your skull. The energy from the universe shifts down your natus all the way to your head. And from there, you can feel it sinking down through your skull, down your neck, to your shoulders, down your arms, to your elbows, to your forearms, and to your hands. Feel it sinking into your chest and filling your lungs, soaking into your heart and your intestines. Feel it expand within your abdomen and easing into your hips, soaking into your thighs and your knees, your calves and your feet. Feel this radiant energy humming and filling you with a presence and mindfulness that you haven't felt in a long while. And you're going to sit in this stillness and this grounding feeling for as long as you need. Feel your breath grow stable and secure. If there are any places that hurt or feel pinched, you can shift yourself a little to get more comfortable. You can draw your presence and mindfulness to the truth that in this space and this time, you are safe, you are loved, and you are secure. Okay, so now that we're here, we're mindful of our presence, we're going to talk about boundaries. So what is a boundary? Seems pretty straightforward, right? We're going to go with the definition, which is a boundary is a limit or space between you and another person, a clear place where you begin and the other person ends. So, cut and dry. You probably had a pretty good understanding of what a boundary was. It's a concept that most people are very familiar with, even if we don't practice good boundaries in our daily life. So what's the point? What's the purpose? Well, the purpose of setting a healthy boundary is to protect and respect your mind, your body, and your energy. It isn't a wall to block other people out. They are just buffers. It's a way to sort of filter through and make sure that your own needs and your own self-respect come first, which not a lot of us have made a practice in our daily life. We are taught by our communities and our families and our friends that having boundaries is something that is negative. Sometimes we're punished for trying to express that we have boundaries. And I'm here to tell you that that's all complete BS. You are entitled to having space where you feel safe, and you are entitled to explain what your boundaries are. Other people don't have to respect your boundaries, but you also don't have to be around people that don't want to respect your boundaries. So that's something that's very important. You have to respect yourself enough to enforce your boundaries. The reason they're so important is you can't be authentic to yourself and to your purpose in life if you don't respect how you feel about a situation. You can't be a healer if you never give yourself the space to learn how to be a healer. So it gives us room to be authentic and to love ourselves for who we are. Okay? How do we define boundaries? It starts with, what are your rights as a human being? I know that in some places in the world, rights within ourselves are different, but in the United States, you're probably pretty well aware of what your rights as a human being are. And given our world today, you are probably keenly aware of ways that your rights as a human being are being violated. The violation of your boundaries. The next phase beyond that is, what does your gut tell you? You're going to know pretty quickly when somebody has crossed the line with you. It doesn't feel good. It sometimes makes you feel sick or sad or scared. More often than not, it will make you angry. Okay? Usually, for me, it's that knotted feeling in the pit of my stomach that just doesn't, something is not quite right with this situation and I don't like it. So trust those instincts, trust those feelings within your body. They're going to talk to you. One thing I will say that is, if you are a person who does not have boundaries, or was not taught to have boundaries, or was taught to continuously allow other people to violate your boundaries, you may be more reactionary when those boundaries are crossed. So you might get violent, your anger might be more explosive, your sadness might be deeper. That is normal in the sense that you have had those boundaries violated and pushed for so long that you are in a really reactionary, raw phase of emotional processing. It's not great, obviously. You don't want to be in a place where you're so emotionally raw that you just explode when somebody crosses a boundary with you. You want to have space where you can express that this is a boundary and I don't appreciate that you've crossed it, or I don't appreciate that you're getting too close to crossing it. But for most of us, we're not that lucky. We come from homes and places and spaces where the opposite of that is true, where we were taught from a young age to suck it up and to deal with it. So we might be a little emotionally raw when it comes to discussing boundaries and establishing boundaries. And after this course, you might find that you're more reactionary when a boundary is crossed, or when somebody gets a little too close to one. That's normal, because you are becoming more aware of how you feel about your boundaries. The next one, beyond that, the next way to define a boundary is with your values. What will you and won't you allow in your life? That is a question that a lot of people think they know the answer to until they really sit down and ask themselves. Sometimes you realize that they're your father's values, or your mother's values, or your community's values. And sometimes our values match the values of the people that have taught us what values are. Other times they don't. And it's really important that you start to ask yourself and honor what the answer is. That's what it comes down to. Boundaries and empowerment are about honoring the self. Okay? Some phrases that go with this lesson, phrases that are boundaries, or the establishment of boundaries, are as follows. It is not my job to fix others. It's okay for others to get angry. It is okay to say no. It is not my job to take responsibility for others. I don't have to anticipate the needs of others. Nobody has to agree with me. I have the right to my own feelings. It is my job to make me happy. What do you think about all of that? I know personally, when I first read them, I had some issues with a few of them. Some of them still inspire a little bit of a reaction in me, but luckily I've been working on boundaries for long enough that it's a little bit tapered down. I'm sure that as I read them, you had some reactions of your own, and you may have even thought of some in your own head, some phrases that maybe are boundaries or the destruction of boundaries that you have been taught from a young age. And if you have the opportunity while we're going through this course, write them down. Okay? I want you to really reflect on the positive and negative boundaries that you have set in your head. Do you feel like it's your responsibility to make other people happy? Do you feel like your own happiness has to be sacrificed in order to achieve that? How often do you tell people no? Those are very important questions to ask yourself, okay, as you start to establish what a boundary looks like for you. At the end of all of this, I want you to remember that at the end of the day, you need to tell yourself that you are enough. Say it. I am enough. Right here, right now, as I am, with all of my healing and all of my damage, in this present moment, I am enough. Because that's true. You as a human being, as you are, right now, are enough. Now, What are the benefits? Because I'm sure that all of you have, as you've been listening to this and as you've been thinking over how you might go against your community or your family or the lessons that you have within yourself, that internal monologue, and you start putting those boundaries into place, I'm sure you can already start to picture how people are going to react. You know, telling somebody that you're not responsible for their anger is probably going to make them more mad. There's probably going to be fights and disagreements, and some people may remove themselves from your energy. You may remove yourself from other people's energy, and all of that does suck, but it's also necessary in order for you to live a more authentic life and a much more fulfilled and happy life. Because if you live with people who are constantly tearing you down and constantly making you the stepping stone that they walk over to get to their happiness, well, that just leaves you as a stone on somebody else's path. That's not you walking your own towards your own happiness, okay? So the benefits of establishing boundaries is self-esteem. When you start honoring your authentic self and you start seeing your value and your worth by establishing these boundaries and holding to them, you will see your self-esteem increase. Telling somebody no, because that's not what you want, is scary and it's hard at first, but when you start to see your own needs being met, your self-esteem will skyrocket. You're going to start to conserve emotional energy, which as an introverted person, even though I may not seem like it in these videos, I'm deeply introverted as a human being. When I started establishing healthy boundaries, what little emotional and social energy I did have, I could conserve for things that I wanted to spend it on. Like, I'm not going to go to a banquet and sit with hundreds of people that I don't know, because that's a violation of my boundaries. That's not something that makes me comfortable. Instead, I'm going to save that energy for when I want to go to the coffee shop with my friend out in public, which is hard for an introvert with agoraphobia. Lastly, and in my opinion the most important, is you're going to find that you develop more independence and agency as a human being. When we establish boundaries and we make ourselves feel safe, we then feel confident enough to go forward and pursue the things that we want to do. Even though I don't like going out and about, as I have worked on my boundaries and developed my self-esteem and my self-confidence, now I'm to the point where I'm like, you know what? I will get on that plane and fly to see my friend. Or I kind of want to go on a road trip with my mom. Those are things that 4 years ago I would never have felt brave enough to do. I was terrified of going out and about and being around people. Now, it's still scary, but I feel like I am confident enough in who I am as a person that I am not quite so afraid anymore. Okay. Now that we've gone over those things, hopefully, as you've listened to me, you've thought of a place in your life where you maybe need a boundary. Why don't you take the time to sit with that thought and consider what a boundary in that space would look like for you? So, if you have a family member who is stealing from you, and you love them, and you want them in your life, well, it's really hard to cut them out, right? We love that person, we want them around, but they're stealing from you. How do you handle that? What does your boundary look like in that situation? Obviously, that's just an example. You don't have to follow that course of thought if you don't want to. But just as an example, are you going to remove yourself from their life? Are you going to remove them from your life? You're just going to stop talking to them? That's an option. Absolutely, it is an option. You do not owe anyone anything, just like they don't owe you anything. So you can follow that course. You can sit down and have a discussion with them. Hi, I know that you've been stealing from me. I don't appreciate it. I would like to resolve this in a way that is healthy and in a way that keeps us both in each other's lives. Is that something that they're going to be open to? Is that kind of conversation? Are you open to that kind of conversation? Are you too emotionally raw to have that kind of conversation right now? Ask yourself questions like that. If you need to pause the video, go for it. Now that we've gone and gotten that discussion out of the way, we're going to do what's called a ritual of empowerment. I'm going to walk you through it, so don't worry about that. Please don't judge me for the shifting sounds that you hear. We're going to start with closing our eyes and taking a deep, nourishing breath, filling our lungs to their fullest extent and exhaling slowly through our mouth until they're nice and empty. With our second inhale, we're going to sink deeper into our body. We're going to allow each breath in to bring us peace and relaxation. Each exhale out, we're pushing out any negativity or misgivings or uncertainty that we might have. And we're just going to sit in this peace and relaxation for a moment. We're going to visualize each breath in as a light filling our lungs and flooding our body and our bloodstream. Feeling this divine light pushing positivity and energy into our very cells and our very being, soaking into us, revitalizing us as a person before it begins to expand outward around us, forming a bubble around our physical space and forming an energetic shield to protect us in this place and time. If you are sitting with others, try to feel the shields and those energetic bubbles of your brothers and sisters that are around you, and sink into the knowing that in this place and time you are safe, you are protected, and this space is filled with peace just for you. So tell yourself that. I am safe, I am secure, and I am loved. Now, you're going to bring your hands together to form a triangle, your thumbs touching together, your index fingers touching together, the point of the triangle upward. You're going to bring that triangle up to your head, and you're going to say out loud, I am. I am. And we're going to drop it down to the third eye. I am my dreams and my visions. I am my dreams and my visions. And move that triangle down to our heart chakra, right there in the middle of the chest. We're going to breathe in and say, I am love, and I am the love I see. I am love, and I am the love I see. We're going to move it down to the solar plexus, just under the sternum there, just above the belly button. We're going to breathe in. I am empowered in my light and soul gifts. I am empowered in my light and soul gifts. Once more, we're going to drop that point down just in front of our sacral chakra, which is just below that solar plexus. And we're going to breathe in and say, I am passion, I am desire. I am passion, I am desire. Next, we're going to move down to the root chakra, but we're going to flip that triangle so that the point is pointing downward. And we're going to breathe deeply, sitting in this space, feeling our roots ground into the rich, warm soil of the earth. And you're going to repeat after me. I am earth, my sacred body, my strength, my help. I am earth, my sacred body, my strength, my help. I am water, my sacred blood, my emotions, my heart. I am water, my sacred blood, my emotions, my heart. I am air, my sacred breath, my mind, my thoughts. I am air, my sacred breath, my mind, my thoughts. I am fire, my sacred spirit, my light, my truth. Now, you're going to release this triangle and stretch it out, saying to yourself, all that ever was and ever will be in this, in here and new. All the power that ever was or ever will be is here and now. Sorry. All the power that ever was or ever will be is here and now. Bring your hands down into the lotus position just above your heart. Breathe into your heart space, fill your lungs up, and exhale, knowing that you, as a person, are empowered. You are powerful in the here and now, the present moment, the moment that matters. Okay. That can be a little intense for a lot of people to sit through something like that or to work through something like that. So if you want to get up and shake it out, if you want to do a dance break, you are more than welcome to do that. Just go ahead and pause right here, okay?
Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you want to be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo. Set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. You always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Okay, now that we have successfully moved our groove thing, we are going to move on to what is known as the Declaration of Empowerment. This is originally called the Self-Empowerment Declaration by Olana Barros. I have edited it to meet my group's needs, so just be aware of that. It is a little bit different if you were to look it up. I will include a copy of this for my kindred. This can cause an emotional response in some people. If it does, just pick up where you left off and try not to be too hard on yourself, okay? So don't be too hard on yourself if for some reason you stumble or you fumble. I will put the words up on the screen as I work through this. For those of you who are just listening to the audio, you'll just have to listen closely. So you're going to sit back with one hand on your heart and one hand on your solar plexus chakra. Hopefully you know where that is. And follow along with me. You can say the words along, or you can say them after I've said them. It's totally up to you. Just move at your own pace, okay? Today, I stand in my full, embodied, sovereign will as a creator. I stand in my highest truth, self-love, power, and authentic voice in this lifetime. I choose my best and highest timeline to fulfill my soul's mission. I intend for this to be for the highest good of all, foremost, myself. In gratitude and honor of my ancestral lineage and all of my karmic relations, I take my full authority as a divine being of light. I call my full power and dispersed energies back to me now. I forgive myself and all whom have disempowered, dishonored, or disconnected me from my highest truth in words, intentions, or actions. I stand in my sovereign power and authority over my own life. All unearthly bonds, patterns, and karmic ties that have influenced me consciously or unconsciously are broken and cut now. I extract and call to me now only the wisdom pertinent to my current lifetime from past lifetimes, free of all drama, trauma, and karma. I now cut all trauma or unhealthy attachments to any future generations. These patterns and their effects end with this declaration now. I nullify, cancel, erase, delete, clear, disentangle, and remove all negative, discordant energies from my subtle energy fields, chakras, auric fields, and energetic bodies. These are now released from all timelines and spaces. I am clear, present, and empowered as I fulfill my highest destiny now. I am free of the past in this time and place, this moment of power, the now. I am sovereign. I am divine. I seal and sanctify this decree with the spirit of love, light, and of the divine. And so it is. Okay. That can be a lot for some people. Take your time to process it. I know some people in our group have adopted this as part of their morning rituals to make this declaration to themselves and to their ancestors and to the energies around them. My personal favorite part is calling back any energies that are mine, which have been dispersed or taken from me without my permission. I as a person tend to be pretty tired pretty often, and this seems to really be the phrase that helps to empower me and make me feel more energetic and whole as a person. Now moving forward, you, as I've said, may find that your life gets a little bit more turbulent. That's to be expected. Establishing boundaries and doing energetic work for ourselves tends to drudge up the muck that has settled at the bottom of our riverbed. It's just how energy clearing works. If you want to live a life that is more in harmony with your true and high self, you unfortunately have to dig up the gunk and clean all the nooks and crannies. So if things get a little bit rough, energetically, emotionally, physically, or mentally, know that you are doing the work right. You're not doing it wrong. You haven't pissed anybody off energetically, other than maybe your inner child who isn't quite sure what's going on or why you're saying these things that are so apparently opposite to what it has been taught and shown. But know that that's part of the process. You're doing things right. And I hope that you will continue to say the empowerment chant to yourself, that you will continue to reinforce and work on your boundaries. A good practice when you have decided to put a boundary down is to let the people around you know if they're affected by that boundary. Like if you live at home and somebody listens to stuff really loud, be like, hey, you know, I like to have quiet time. I would like to have an hour of quiet time. Could we maybe talk about a time during the day when for a full hour we don't listen to the TV at 100% volume? If you don't communicate your needs and your boundaries to the people that are around you, how can they meet those needs and those boundaries? How can they respect them? Granted, some of you may live with people who will go out of their way to disrespect your needs and your boundaries. And unfortunately, that is part of life. And hopefully you will find a way to still establish boundaries in a healthy way, or remove yourself from the situation where people are actively disrespecting you as a person. I don't have all the answers, unfortunately, especially in situations like that, but I want you to know that I will hold space for you if that's your situation, and that I hope and pray that things get better. I also hope that you spend some time with yourself today and give yourself some self-love. The work that we did was kind of high impact emotionally, spiritually, and energetically. Maybe have something sweet like a cookie, maybe a glass of milk with some Oreos, something tasty like that, and maybe take a nice long hot shower. Take care of yourself and love yourself. And I hope that you have a wonderful day. Okay? Goodbye.